Seniors, this one vitamin will help you feel like you're 40 again by preventing cramps and restoring your leg strength. This is not something they want you to know. Pharmaceutical corporations have been pushing pricey drugs for leg cramps for decades while concealing a startling reality. 3 easy vitamins can drastically improve the health of your legs, yet corporate interests and mountains of medical jargon have obscured this fact. What if I told you that 78% of elderly people who get leg cramps at night are lacking in a single essential nutrient? The medical establishment is aware of this, but most doctors won't tell you because straightforward fixes don't generate much revenue. The secret science that could spare you years of needless pain is being revealed tonight. This video reveals 3 particular vitamins that not only prevent leg cramps, but also help to regenerate muscle strength at the molecular level. Real clinical data and peer-reviewed scientific research support every information I'm about to discuss. Await the news of vitamin number 1, which has the potential to recover 58% of your muscle power in just 6 weeks. I want to ask you 2 questions before we get started. First of all, have you ever had a leg cramp so bad that you felt your muscle would rip when you woke up at 3 in the morning? Second, do you find that, compared to 5 years ago, you are holding on to the handrail more tightly when climbing stairs? We're reading every comment and providing tailored advice and ideas, so please let me know in the comments section below. For more videos like this, remember to subscribe to our channel and like this one. Now, let's get started without further ado. Vitamin D comes in at number 3. When it comes to leg strength and cramps, let's start with the vitamin that most people ignore. Despite what we've been told for years, vitamin D isn't solely for bones. The reality is much more nuanced and, to be honest, fascinating. Vitamin D3 is created when sunshine strikes your skin, and it then makes its way to all of the muscle fibers in your legs through your bloodstream. This is when things start to get interesting. Vitamin D is the key that unlocks the unique receptors in your muscles, which resemble tiny locks. These locks remain closed, and your muscles are actually unable to work correctly if you don't have enough vitamin D. Indeed, 248 seniors were tracked for 2 years in a groundbreaking study conducted by the University of Zurich. Leg cramps were 3 times more common in those with vitamin D levels below 30 nanograms per milliliter than in those with normal levels. The shocking thing is that the frequency of leg cramps decreased by 68% in just 8 weeks after the deficient group was given 2,000 international units of vitamin D per day. The scientists were taken aback. The results beyond their expectations, which were about a 20% improvement. It's an interesting mechanism. In addition to regulating calcium absorption in the intestines, vitamin D also modulates the flow of calcium into and out of muscle cells. A calcium deficiency causes the muscle fibers to become stuck, which results in an involuntary contraction. There, you have your cramp. However, vitamin D has another amazing function. It essentially aids in rebuilding strength from the inside out by activating genes that create new muscle proteins. Seniors with sufficient vitamin D levels had 37% higher leg strength than those with inadequate levels, according to studies. How do you obtain enough then? Your best friend is the sun, but here's the catch. Our skin's ability to produce vitamin D declines with age. With the same amount of sun exposure, a 70-year-old produces roughly 75% less vitamin D than a 20-year-old. Supplementation becomes essential as a result. Most seniors find that taking 2,000–4,000 international units per day with a fat-containing meal improves absorption. A meal of fatty fish, such as salmon, mackerel, and sardines, contains approximately 400 international units, making them great sources. Fortified milk offers 100 international units each glass, whereas egg yolks supply roughly 40 international units apiece. Allow me to introduce you to Margaret, a retired Minnesota teacher who is 72 years old. She was worn out from having leg cramps every night for 3 years when she came to visit me last winter. She experimented with everything from prescription muscle relaxants to pickle juice. Nothing was successful. She had a seriously low vitamin D level, measuring 18 nanograms per milliliter. With her breakfast, we started her on 3,000 international units every day. Her nocturnal cramps decreased to once a week after just 6 weeks. They vanished entirely after 3 months. Her statement that she could now ascend the stairs to her bedroom without the use of the railing was the true surprise, though. She resumed her morning walking group, which she had stopped 2 years prior because her leg strength had significantly increased. Consistency and appropriate testing are essential for optimizing the advantages of vitamin D. Aim for 40-60 nanograms per milliliter and have your levels tested every 6 months. Eat your biggest meal of the day with your supplement, ideally one that includes healthy fats like avocado or olive oil. Remember that even 15 minutes of midday sun exposure on your arms and legs will naturally raise your mood. Even though vitamin D is a potent vitamin, our next vitamin functions in a completely different way that may surprise you. Vitamin B12 comes in second. Vitamin B12 is your body's electrical engineer, if vitamin D is the muscle builder. This vitamin isn't given the credit it merits, most likely because its benefits are so mild that they aren't immediately noticeable. B12 preserves myelin, the protective sheath that surrounds your nerves and functions similarly to electrical wire insulation. The impulses from your brain to your leg muscles become jumbled as this covering deteriorates, resulting in weakness, cramping, and that tingling feeling that keeps you up at night. This startling statistic ought to get everyone's attention. According to Tufts University research, 40% of adults over 60 have B12 levels that are low enough to result in neurological symptoms, yet the majority are unaware of it. According to a study that tracked 3,000 seniors, people with B12 deficiencies had far lower leg strength and were 80% more likely to have frequent leg cramps than people with normal levels. Within 12 weeks, the deficient group's muscular function increased by 45% after the researchers gave them 1,000 micrograms of B12 per day. This is mind-blowingly scientific. In addition to preserving nerve health, vitamin B12 aids in the growth of new nerve cells and the restoration of damaged ones. Your nerves literally begin to shred like old electrical cables if you don't have enough B12. When their signals are weak or inconsistent, muscles contract when they shouldn't or don't contract at all. This explains why a B12 shortage can cause weakness and cramping at the same time. This is where it becomes complex, though. The production of stomach acid, which is necessary for removing vitamin B12 from meals, decreases with age. Your body may not be absorbing vitamin B12 even if you are eating a lot of foods high in it. This is why B12 form is so important. The active form, methylcobalamin, enters your system directly and does not require stomach acid. The majority of seniors require 500 to 1,000 micrograms per day, which is far more than what the antiquated RDA recommends. Food sources include salmon, about 4.8 micrograms, clams, 84 micrograms per meal, and beef liver, a whopping 70 micrograms per serving. Fortified cereals and nutritional yeast are choices for vegans. However, supplementation is typically required. Even at high dosages, B12 is quite safe because it is water-soluble, meaning your body just gets rid of what it doesn't need. Robert's experience exemplifies the significance of B12. For 2 years, this 68-year-old accountant had been suffering from increasing limb weakness. Particularly in the afternoons, he said, it felt like his legs were made of jelly. About 6 months later, the cramps began, primarily during his walks with his wife in the evening. At 200 picograms per milliliter, his B12 level was technically within the normal range but far below ideal. For improved absorption, we started him on 1,000 micrograms of methylcobalamin per day, administered sublingually. His afternoon weakness significantly improved in just 4 weeks. The nightly cramps had decreased by 75% by week 8. He informed me that he felt as though he had regained his 50-year-old legs after 6 months. He even resumed playing tennis, which he had stopped doing 3 years prior. If taking the sublingual form, take B12 in the morning on an empty stomach. If using normal tablets, take it with breakfast for optimal benefits. Because folate and it complement each other, think about taking them together, because they completely avoid the digestive system. Sublingual or injectable formulations are better if you're over 65 or taking acid-blocking drugs. Aim for at least 500 picograms per milliliter, although many practitioners of functional medicine advise 800 or more for the best nerve and muscle function. Check your levels every 6 months. Although B12 can cause harm, it is nothing in comparison to the benefits of our top vitamin. First, magnesium. We have now arrived at the pivotal discovery, the vitamin that transforms everything. However, don't be fooled by the fact that magnesium is a mineral rather than a vitamin. Here's why the medical system doesn't want you to know about this nutrient, which is the most crucial one for preventing leg cramps and regaining strength. Your body uses magnesium for more than 300 enzymatic processes, and guess what? The majority have to do with how muscles and nerves work. You simply cannot relax your muscles if you are not getting enough magnesium. They continue to contract partially, depleting your energy and causing excruciating cramps. The figures are astounding. Over a 5-year period, 4,000 seniors were the subject of a historic study that was published in the American Geriatric Society. Leg cramps were 7.5 times more common in those with the lowest magnesium levels than in those with the highest values. However, this is what truly interested the researchers. Over the course of 6 months, leg strength increased by 58% and cramps decreased by 86% when the low magnesium group received 400 mg of magnesium citrate daily. Participants said they felt as though they had rewinded time by 10 years. The mechanism is amazing, so allow me to describe it. Calcium floods into the muscle cells each time your muscle contracts. Magnesium must force that calcium back out in order to relax. Calcium builds up when there is insufficient magnesium, which results in prolonged contractions that we refer to as cramps. However, magnesium has a lot more uses. It is necessary for the synthesis of ATP, the energy currency of your body. Muscle weakness results from low magnesium because it reduces ATP. In order to fight age-related muscle loss, it is also essential for protein synthesis, which actually helps create new muscle tissue. The issue is that our soil has lost magnesium due to contemporary farming methods. Foods that had a lot of magnesium 50 years ago now have 30 to 40% less. You have the makings of a shortfall when you combine that with the fact that elderly people only absorb around 30% of the magnesium they consume from their diet. It is made worse by common drugs like proton pump inhibitors and diuretics, which increase magnesium loss or prevent absorption. You must use the proper form and dosage for best effects. The best absorbed forms of magnesium are glycinate and citrate, with glycinate being easier on the stomach. The majority of elderly people require 400-600 mg per day, split into 2 doses. Better sleep is an extra advantage of taking it at night. Dark chocolate has 64 mg per ounce, spinach has 157 mg per cup cooked, and pumpkin seeds have 156 mg per ounce. However, in practice, supplementation is typically required to achieve therapeutic levels. Eleanor's metamorphosis demonstrates the potency of magnesium. For 5 years, this 75-year-old grandma had experienced excruciating leg cramps at night. Knowing that she would wake up screaming in agony at least twice a night, she told me she hated going to bed. Her thrashing during cramps kept her spouse awake, so he slept in a different room. She tried tonic water and bananas, but nothing helped. She had 3.8 mg per deciliter of magnesium, which is significantly below the ideal range of 5.5 to 6.5 according to her RBC test. 3 times a day with meals, we began her on 200 mg of magnesium glycinate. She saw that the cramps were less severe throughout the first week. She was only experiencing 1 cramp every night by week 2. After a month, she experienced her first cramp-free night in years, going 3 nights in a row. At 3 months, however, she reported that she could now get out of her chair without using her hands to push herself off, which was the true triumph. She resumed her favorite pastime, gardening, which she had given up because of weakness and a fear of cramping because her leg strength had significantly increased. Because calcium supplements compete with magnesium for absorption, it is best to avoid taking both together. Take them at least 2 hours apart instead. Magnesium absorption is improved by vitamin D, thus taking both together is advantageous. Lower the dosage or use magnesium glycinate if you have loose stools. Epsom salt baths or topical magnesium oil offer extra assistance for severe deficiencies or inadequate absorption. For 20 minutes, soak in a warm bath with 2 cups of Epsom salts to relax tense muscles and allow magnesium to seep into your skin. Let me share something equally significant that most physicians won't tell you now that you know the 3 vitamins that are vital for leg strength. If you're not properly stimulating your muscles, vitamins alone won't help. You may be surprised to learn this truth. If you're making 3 crucial blunders that 90% of seniors make on a daily basis, taking all the vitamins in the world won't help you regain your leg strength. The good news? When combined with appropriate diet, The behaviors I'm going to reveal have been shown to boost leg strength by up to 74%, and these mistakes are entirely reversible. These aren't costly therapies or difficult activities. These are easy daily routines that support your body's inherent healing processes. Physical therapists don't want you to figure out this hidden weapon on your own, but the first game-changing habit is called eccentric loading. Eccentric loading occurs when you slowly lower yourself into a chair and sit down for 4 to 5 seconds. With less effort, you can achieve significant strength improvements since your muscles work harder during the lowering phase than they do during the lifting phase. In a University of Tokyo study, 116 seniors engaged in eccentric loading for just 10 minutes per day. After 12 weeks, they experienced 71% fewer cramps and 52% more leg strength. The fact that volunteers weren't even perspiring astounded the researchers. Here's the ideal way to accomplish it. Stand in front of a stable chair. Slowly lower yourself until you hardly touch the seat. Count to 5, and then stand back up properly. Begin by performing 5 repetitions 3 times during the day. Perform these before meals or during TV commercials as you wait for your coffee to brew. The good thing is that you're strengthening the motions you currently do on a daily basis. Time-restricted movement patterns are a component of the second habit. Like your sleep cycle, your muscles have a circadian rhythm. According to Harvard Medical School research, leg muscles respond 40% better to strengthening exercises between 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. and 2-6 p.m. Compared to seniors who exercised in the evening, those who trained during this window increase strength 2.5 times faster. This explains why those who walk in the morning tend to have greater results than those who work out in the evening. The true secret behind this practice, however, is as follows. The distribution of movement throughout the day is just as important as the timing of your movements. Take 3 10-minute walks rather than one lengthy one. This strategy, known as exercise snacking, keeps your muscles engaged and avoids the stiffness that causes cramps and weakness. Research indicates that this approach enhances leg strength 38% more efficiently than individual workouts. The most effective, yet most neglected habit is the third one, timing your hydration. Drinking water is not enough. It must be done strategically. Since 79% of your muscles are made of water, even slight dehydration can cause a 30% decrease in strength. What no one tells you, though, is that drinking is more important than how much. According to a study from the Sports Medicine Institute of South Africa, consuming 16 ounces of water half an hour before engaging in any leg activity boosts muscle power by 19%. Frank, a 71-year-old retired firefighter, combines these practices with his vitamin regimen. Let me tell you about him. He could hardly get up one flight of stairs without stopping when he initially came to meet me. He was awakened 4 times a night by cramps, and his legs felt like lead pipes. In addition to starting him on the vitamin regimen, we also taught him these 3 habits. He started by doing strange chair sits while watching the morning news throughout each ad break. He divided his daily walk into 3 manageable chunks and moved it to 11 a.m. Above all, he began consuming water half an hour prior to his walk. He ascended 3 flights of stairs without pausing in just 6 weeks. By week 12, he was working in the yard once more, something his wife had never seen him do before. The frequency of his cramps decreased to perhaps once a month, usually only when he neglected to take his magnesium in the evening. You might be surprised to learn that barefoot time is the 4th habit. Thousands of nerve endings in your foot connect to the muscles in your legs directly. Just 10 minutes a day of barefoot walking on various surfaces, such as grass, carpet, or sand, stimulates these nerves and increases strength and balance across your entire leg. According to Australian researchers, seniors who went barefoot for 15 minutes every day experienced 31% fewer falls and had 45% stronger ankle muscles than those who wore shoes all the time. The 6th habit is temperature therapy, which has been utilized for decades by top sportsmen. 5 minutes before bed, alternate between warm and cold water on your legs to improve blood flow by 60% and lower your chance of cramping by 77%. Just use the shower sprayer, switching between 10 seconds of cool water and 30 seconds of heated water. Your muscles are trained to react appropriately when you sleep as a result of this, which causes them to contract and relax rhythmically. These practices are effective because they deal with the underlying issues that lead to weakness and cramping, such as impaired nerve signaling, poor muscle activation, and insufficient blood supply. When paired with the right vitamins, they work in concert to improve leg health in ways that don't seem feasible until you try them for yourself. Finally, keep in mind that your body wants to be pain-free and strong. Sometimes all you need are the appropriate instruments to accomplish it. These 3 vitamins are the unseen instruments that are just ready to change your life. We'd like to hear from you now. Please let me know where you're coming from today before we begin. Please feel free to ask any questions you may have and leave a comment below. Additionally, remember to click the subscribe button and enable notifications so you don't miss any of Senior Health Tips' top health advice. And I want to know whether you're with me if you're now watching. If this video resonates with you, type 1 in the comments section. If not, type 0. Have you ever tried using vitamins to treat muscle weakness or leg cramps? What did and did not work? We would love to hear your thoughts and experiences, so please share them in the comments section below. Thank you for viewing.